Welcome back to the channel. Winks here. If you want to know how to maximize your elixirs on Disgaea 5, then stick around to the end of the video. Welcome back to the channel. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. And don't forget to hit that notification bell so you never miss out on any content that I drop. Before we get started in today's video, a couple housekeeping notes. First, we're coming up on the end of the giveaway here soon in a couple days, and soon one of you will be a proud owner of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Second thing, as a disclaimer, I am not the originator of this content, and I give credit where credit's due. And the last thing I want to do is steal somebody's thunder, so I'm going to post the link to where I got this information from below in the description. So today, what I'm going to be talking about is extracts, which is step 3 of maxing your stats. So we've been talking about multiple steps. Step 1 was mastering your subclasses. Step 2 was reincarnation and when to reincarnate. If you haven't checked those videos out, go ahead and check them out so you can be up to speed. Today we're going to be talking about, like I said, step 3, extracts. So as you can see here, looking on the screen there, I have a maxed out extract. And today's video, I'm going to be doing things a little bit differently than what I've been doing. We're going to do things kind of in reverse. And as always, as I always say, there is a series of steps that you have to do in order to complete this step. I feel like that should be the slogan for this game, because every step you do, there's a series of steps. So as you can see on the screen there, I've managed to spend the past few days putting together an extract, and I'm going to show you how to efficiently use it first, and then I'm going to go back and I'm going to explain what you got to do, how you set this up in order to get this right here. So what you do once you've got it, because remember we're going in reverse this time. The first thing you want to do is, like I said in one of my previous videos when I discussed the 4 types of classes that you need, one of those is the maid. And on that maid, you're going to need two specific evilties. One is called licensed caregiver, and one is called cannon for an arm. Now, as you can see, there's a bunch of different evilties that I have on here for specific reasons. Some of those are not relevant to this video, and I'll explain some of that later probably in the next video, because that's really what it's for. But for now, for this step, you're gonna need these 2 right here. So once you've got your extract, once you've put in that work, you find you just any old map, because all you're gonna do is just use this extract that you've got. So I just go to, like, let's say 2-1 or something like that. It really doesn't matter where you go. So what you're going to do is you're going to pull out the character that you want to give those stats to. And as you know, we've been talking about and discussing Seraphina. So what that licensed caregiver does, and that cannon for an arm, it allows you to apply that same item to 5 different characters at one time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull out the maid. I'm going to have her out here, and I may have to shift her around a little bit, so bear with me. And then I'm going to pull out 4 other characters also, so I can do this simultaneously. And I'm not going to pick those 4 printies that I've been using. I'm going to pick a couple that I want to apply these stats to. And some of these I've already done it with. So let's see, who are we going to give these to? Maybe him. She may already have it. You know, I've done this so many times I can't remember who all I've given these to. Hopefully it works for all of them. But if it doesn't, you'll see, you'll basically get to see, because one of the talking points about this video is that this elixir maxes, as you saw that, and there's a limit to how much you can put on a character, and you'll see for yourself what I'm talking about if I've already done this to them, because you'll see different numbers on the screen. So what you're going to do is you're going to pull out the maid that we just talked about, and you're going to go to use an item. We're going to use that elixir, right? So you're going to find that elixir, pull out that elixir, use. And so you see her selector is 5 different tiles there. That's because of that evilty we gave her. So I'm gonna put it right on Seraphina. And before we do that, take a look at Seraphina's stats. You see her stats are all about 10,000 right there. That's from the reincarnation that we did in the last video. Watch how much her stats go up when I give her this item. Seraphina's stats have increased, and you see attack, defense, intelligence, all that is the same amount that was in that elixir, right? And it'll do that for every character. Uriel, Roz, Gabriel, and Tarek. So you see here, Tarek's didn't go up anymore. That's because I had already given him elixirs, and he's reached his max. And that's how you're gonna know when you've reached the max, when they stop getting stats on their stats. So now that you've given it to her, look at her stats now, 20,000, right? So all I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna end the turn. We're gonna beat these printies because they're not even strong at all. And then I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna explain to you what you gotta do to do this. Now, as I said in the beginning of the video, another YouTuber by the name of Blueeyesmew or something like that, he's the one that I originally found that showed me how to do this. You can go watch his video because he explains why this works the way that it does. I'm not gonna do that because he's already done it. I'm just gonna show you how it works and what you gotta do to get to that point. I'm gonna give you like the gist of it. Let's just go ahead and clear these printies out, and then I'll go back and we'll talk about the setup. So, in order to do this properly, you're gonna need, in total, including that maid, it's gonna be 7, but 6 characters mainly. And what I've done is I've already set up a specific squad here, and I've put in all those characters in that squad together, so I don't have to hunt for them when I'm doing this multiple times. The first one you're gonna need is Metalia. And the reason you need Metalia is because of her overload. And if you look at her overload right there, it says capture all enemy units on the map. Here's a list of the evilties. I suggest you pause the video and write these down, or write, whatever you gotta do, but these are the ones you're gonna need, right? And I'll explain a couple of them, but like I said, Blueeyesmew, he does a better job and takes more time doing this, and I'm not gonna steal his thunder, so just take a look at what I've got. Swamp Witch, Bullying, Elemental Force, Purgatory, Shaking Excitement, Critical Point, To the Death, Final Boss Glare, Unconditional Love, and Mental Pain. Now, the only one I'm gonna talk about here is Mental Pain, because what that does, if you read at the bottom, when capturing a prisoner, have the prisoner's remaining SP. So when you take a prisoner and you go to interrogate them, they're already going to have half of their life taken away for the interrogation. That's what Mental Pain does. The next one you're going to do, Uriel and Gabriel are basically just a couple characters that I made to help Metalia for her purpose, but these are the evilties that I put on him. So one of them is Force Counter. The next one is Self-Sacrifice, because when he dies, it gives 20% of the revenge gauge to the allies on the map, and that's going to be important for helping Metalia get her overload up. And then Secret Recon, because the map we're going to go to, I want him to be able to move further, and it makes his max HP 1. As you see on the screen right there, his HP is literally 1 out of 1, and I did that on purpose. I want him to die. Gabriel is the same exact setup. As you can see here, you need 2 of them because, it's, Force Counter is 20%, or I'm sorry, Self-Sacrifice is 20%, and then you got it twice because I got 2 of those characters on the map. The next one you're gonna need, which is another one of the 4 that I told you in one of the previous videos, is the Professor, right? Or did I tell you that? I'm not sure, but you're gonna need a Professor for this. And what you need for her, so the effects of support magic, I don't know that you need that for this, but I put it on there anyway. Just go ahead, like I said, pause the screen, write all these down, because you're gonna, the exact same setup is not gonna do you any worse. Tension booster, so this one is very important. When you use support magic, it increases the target's unit's revenge gauge by 10%. And I actually do use her magic one time when I'm farming these, each time I do it. So if you didn't get a good shot of that, I'll go a little slower this time. Here it is. All right, and then Christo is very important from the beginning. You should have Christo maxing out when you're doing step 1, because you're gonna need him in step 4, and the professor also in step 4 when you're doing the item world grinding. And that is the longest part of this entire maxing stats process. You're going to need Christo and a professor without a doubt. So go ahead and start maxing their stats now. So the reason you need him though is because of the accuracy. Right here, adjacent ally units accuracy becomes 100% and evasion becomes 25%. You need tactician. Heavy stance is good. I would put that on there too, but because it increases his stats by 30%. And then the last one you're gonna need is Pram. Because 2 reasons for Pram. 1, because of her ability. Let me find it. She has an ability. Oh, here it is. It's an evilty. Punishing Prophecy. You're gonna see this happen when I show you on this map. But deal damage to a random enemy at the end of the turn. And the other guy in his video, he explains why this is important because of the distance between her and the last boss that we're gonna fight on this next map. But if you want a real in-depth explanation about all these evilties and why they do what and the percentages and all that, go check his video out. For now, just take, like I said, just write all these down and set yours up the same exact way. Punishing Prophecy, Elemental Force, Acceleration Shot, Desperation, Final Boss Glare, Unconditional Love, Critical Point, Cold Blessing, Purgatory, and To the Death. Right? So you need all those on Pram. Now, another thing that I need to point out when you are using the equipment, she has an elemental weapon. Make sure you get an elemental weapon on both Metalia and Pram. And also, you're going to need a level 100 professional innocent on her weapon and on Metalia's weapon. So if you don't understand innocence or you're not sure what to do, just go back and check my statistician video out, and that'll explain to you how to get a level 100. It's only 100 of them. It shouldn't take long at all to get 2 of them. But you need that on her and on Metalia, if I'm not mistaken. Yep. See, there you go. You need that professional on her as well. So once you've got all this set up like this, the way I have it here with these characters, these 2 don't matter as much. You just need 2 units to put those evilties on. It doesn't matter which one. But you definitely need the Professor, Christo, Pram, and Metalia, and the Maid, because at the end, the Maid is what's going to be crucial at leveling them all up together. So now that you've seen that, one more thing that you need to do when you're doing this and setting it up, before you go to the Carnage Dimension and start farming this, you need to go to the Giant Squad, and those 3 characters that we talked about that are really the main ones in doing this, you need to put them into the Giant Squad, the Giant Killer Squad. You need to put Metalia, Pram, and Christo all in the Giant Killer Squad. The reason is because when they come out as giants, their stats are higher, I believe. Now I'm going to show you how you get to that point. This is where you start. So what you're going to do, and when he did it on his video, I believe he did it with 10 million stats. If you look at my characters, she's got 20 million stats. I did that because I want her to be able to have an easier time at doing this. And when I do this, I go to the cheat shop and I turn the difficulty all the way up to 20 stars, because every time you get that extraction from the prisoners you take, the higher the stars, the better that extraction. So I can show you that, but you'll see it for yourself if you're not to this point. You get about roughly 380,000 extract each time you do this. So if you think about the math, if you're trying to get to 10 million's worth, or right at 10 million of an extract, you've got to do this about 30 times. You've got to repeat this cycle 30 times. at 20 stars. It's going to take you longer doing it on 1 star or 2 stars because you're getting less from that extraction, but I maxed mine out. So the first time around I got one of these extracts maxed out, I gave it to Pram and Metalia so they would be stronger and I could do more stars on here and be more efficient at doing this. Also, just as a tip, because I've made this mistake, before you start farming these extracts, because shards, you don't even need shards in my opinion. What you need is the extracts. When you start doing these extracts, make sure you have your interrogation squad set up and make sure you have no prisoners in here. You want this cleaned out. Release them, make them citizens, add them to a squad, do whatever you gotta do, but empty this out. One of the characters that I have on the interrogation squad is Valtorez. He's the leader of this, and the reason I put him in here, which is probably useless information, but somewhere along the lines I thought because of his evilty that you could get 20% more of the people of their stats or the people you were interrogating. But I've tested this with different characters and it's the same every time. So just put somebody in that interrogation squad and make sure they got high stats too, because the enemies you're farming, they're gonna have high stats, and it's gonna be easier to interrogate the enemies that you capture with a character that is stronger than them. So make sure that's cleared out, and then what you're gonna do is you're gonna go to the Carnage guide,
choose a destination,
Goldion, with that same setup that I showed you, and you're gonna go to Double Illusion, Double Fate. And when you get in here, I'm gonna explain what I'm doing as I'm doing it. So first, I go to that squad that I've created. I bring Metalia out, put her right in front of the base. I bring those 2 sacrificial characters out. I make them just do an attack to that character next to them, because remember, they have forced counter. So that character is going to attack them, and when they die with 1 HP, it's going to give 20%, 40% really to Metalia's gauge. So I'm going to attack her. Then I'm going to bring Christo out. I'm going to put him on the right side, right up here next to Metalia. I'm going to bring Pram out. I'm going to put her right behind Christo, because he's increasing her accuracy and he's increasing Metalia's accuracy where he's at the same time. Lastly, I'm going to bring out the Professor. I'm going to use Magic Boost to raise their intelligence, because remember, she has an evility that adds, I think, 10% to their gauge. So we're going to go ahead and do that, and then I'm going to hit Execute, not in turn, Execute. He attacks, she uses her magic, and then the enemies wipe those 2 out, and you'll see Metalia's gauge go up. See, she just got her revenge, right? Next thing you're gonna want to do is her overload. Now watch this. This is the money shot. "99 enemies captured." So I just captured every enemy on this map. Next thing you're gonna do is you're gonna end the turn. Enemy's gonna come down and Pram is gonna kill her. Automatically, just like that. Next thing you're gonna do, once you've captured all those enemies and killed the boss, you're gonna go to interrogate them. You see their life is already at half. That's because of that evility that Metalia had. You just hit them a couple times. And then you go to extract, and you extract them all. You just got a magic extract. Now when you go to that extract, if you look at it, look at the stats on that. It's 380,000, right? So, you know, just do the math. Every 3, roughly, you're getting 1 million, and the max is 10 million. So you got to do it about 30 times, and that's at 20 stars. So if you do it any less than 20 stars, the stats are going to be lower, right? And I can demonstrate that just for the sake of demonstrating it, but it's really not necessary. Just believe me, when you do it, it's going to be less. Once you have a few different extracts,
to your heart's content.
you're gonna go back to the strategy assembly, and then it doesn't matter which character, just whoever has 200 of these. This one right here, condense magic extract, it's not selectable right now because I only have 1 extract, but if you have more than 1, you'll be able to select this You do the vote just like with everything else. They'll probably say nay on it, just pay or destroy them, whatever you got to do. And then it takes every extract you've got, no matter how many, up to the max, the 9 million whatever, and it combines them all into a single extract. So one last thing before we go, what I did was I went to the map editor here, or the nether editor here, and I moved my interrogator over here by the Carnage Guide. That way when I was doing the farming, I wasn't going way down here back and forth. I wanted to shorten the distance between them right here so I could do it faster. That's really the last tip that I have about this. You don't need shards. You're really going to focus on extracts because the extracts have all the stats instead of just a single stat like shards. And that's it. You saw it for yourself. So I hope you liked the video. Thanks for watching. If you haven't already, again, go ahead and like it, subscribe, and thanks for watching.